to High Definition. I'm Bianca Zanini, your host for tonight. 67 Israeli soldiers and civilians were killed in the summer of 2014 during Israel's Operation Protective Edge. In March 2016, during the Purim holiday, 60 bereaved parents were invited by the Rome Jewish community and the Lמשפחות association to travel to Italy, mostly to stay away from the reality they left behind. Miriam Peretz, who's seen 2 of her sons killed in Israel's wars, says they did not have a miracle, as happened in the book of Esther, but that they are the miracle. The film we'll see soon opens a small window into the world of bereaved parents, into their daily war of survival, from endless pain to man's existential need to move on and continue living. It's the story of a war that goes on long after it's ended, and of small moments of happiness. This is Making Dreams Realize Dreams.
We dreamt of this for 2 months, and here we are. We are traveling with the parents of 33 fallen soldiers.
הורים ל-33 חללים.
We're glad to be flying, but we're flying with a sad burden.
It's a good experience when we're all together like this, and I'm sure it will be interesting.
I came to be with our sweet friends. We've become one family, the bereaved family, having an experience together. I'll hope it will be nice.
Miriam is an inspiring woman, inspiring Miriam. And Miriam came out drumming and dancing.
Do you want to go out dancing? You know what I call it? The melody of tragedy. Looking for the melody in tragedy.
We were embraced by the Jewish community in Rome. I feel a need and desire to embrace Irit lovingly before we begin the group embrace. Irit, a huge hug.
I'm very glad to welcome the families here. This is an event in which the Roman community, and that's what makes it special, opens its home, but especially its heart, to you. The Roman community is very, very Zionistic. It's connected to Israel in many different ways, including Aliyah, and sending lone soldiers to the IDF. The most important message of today's event is the message of unity, that the Jewish people are united and strong, and no one can defeat us. And today we see our strength. We may speak different languages. Not all Roman Jews speak Hebrew. We live in different places, but when we come together, we feel like brothers.
The fulfillment of a dream, the embodiment of faith, the embodiment of something I learned growing up in a Zionist home. My parents came from Persia. They left everything behind and moved to Israel because they wanted to breathe the land of Israel.
It moves me to stand here on behalf of the bereaved parents here with us, although no one appointed me to this dignified and touching position. I'm not here to tell you about myself or my son. All I ask is to thank you, the Jewish community of Rome, you, our honored and precious hosts, your kindness and your sincere attempt to embrace us and hold us dear. We, the bereaved parents who lost our dearest ones defending the land of Israel and Jews everywhere.
Our loss is the loss of every mother and father, of all the parents here in this room, and the Jewish people as a whole, defending our country, the land of Israel. And this duty to defend is a universal element common to all Jews.
1,000 people came to the synagogue to greet us with applause. They all stood up.
The Romans come to Israel, they destroy the temple, and children's blood is spilled. And now I come here and see how powerful it is. In the face of all that power, what do I see? Survival, standing here.
All of the days, this is the building of the Jewish school. They are the classroom of the songs. You heard the songs of the...
Yeah. No, you hear the live. This is the live. Near the death.
This is the moment of greatest grief. The music and the prayers and the words suddenly taking on meaning. We started by singing a song of ascension.
It was very moving. Our eyes filled with tears without us even knowing. There was a lot of emotion.
One thing that comforts me or consoles me is believing that they see me and they're proud, patting me on the back. Good for you, Dad, for carrying on living. You're still my father, even if I'm not here.
I won't experience this anywhere else.
Here, precisely because it isn't Israel, the different backdrop facilitates these little conversations.
Don't you feel uncomfortable talking about it in Israel? It's easier from a distance.
I think so, because in Israel I found other therapy. I exercise a lot, I row, and I'm not really in touch with other bereaved parents. But here, something about the distance made me. The distance actually does me good, getting closer to the other bereaved parents and exchanging information. What are you going through? How do you feel? How do I feel? And with this information, I'll return to Israel stronger.
Are you glad you came?
Here? I'm sorry Avi didn't come.
Remember, I told you.
If it's either me or him, he should be here instead. Because he'd relate better.
Why?
If he were here, all you'd hear was Avi.
But I hear you.
Now that we're alone,
finally,
but not on the microphone.
This isn't necessary. How do you feel in a synagogue? What do you feel when you heard all the applause?
That was incredibly intense. It was so touching.
Did it give you strength?
I give myself strength.
You give yourself strength?
Ultimately, I think, my strength comes from myself. I don't really think anyone can help me. I have to help myself.
Something interesting is happening to me here. I'm playing the role of social worker. I forget that I listen and I think, how terrible. And then a voice inside says, it happened to you too. I listen and it's as if I'm not a part of it.
You're more experienced from previous years.
I'm both an old timer and a newcomer. It's confusing.
I can't say that it makes it easier because it doesn't. The opposite. The longing and the bereavement only gets worse. It doesn't get easier. I can't tell you if it will be different in the future.
We met soldiers who were with them in Operation Protective Edge, and they told me about Liran. He went beyond the call of duty. Besides that, he always dreamt of being a doctor. In high school, he studied advanced chemistry and biology, and life took him on a different course, but he never gave up the dream. And he was about to go abroad. He only had to buy a ticket. He'd been accepted, he had a place to live. Just fly there and start studying. And he said, Mom, I'll come home every July. I'll come home for vacation. And he comes home for vacation. It's when he died. On July 31st, Liran, along with Osnat's son, was killed, and his memorial service is in July every year.
The soldiers came in from Gaza. Half his body was outside the tank and he was telling them jokes to make it easier on them. And he took their pictures. He took the pictures of Liran and himself, and a mortar shell struck in the middle of a joke.
Before he left, he said, Mom, if I have to die, I want to die a hero. And I wondered, why is he saying these things? I didn't want to think about what he meant. And that's what happened.
With all due respect for my mum's concerns, I have to be with my buddies now, and that's more important. And everyone says the same thing, that these boys knew that they were doing the right thing, that they were defending the homeland, and that's what they all kept saying, that they have to be there. They all had that in common. I hear it from all the mothers. I get together with the mothers more than with the families. This is our first real encounter with the families. But all the kids said the same thing. God must be preparing something big up there, and he took a group of our sons.
There are two options. Either stay under the covers and hide and wallow and do nothing.
Do you imagine him coming back?
I lost one son. I have 3 sons. I refuse to lose all 3. And for the sake of the other 2 and in Noam's honor, we hold our heads high. And Noam will be by our side all the time, but we'll hold our heads high for the sake of the other 2.
Changing your frame of mind all the time. Seeing your son and smiling at him, or making him a sandwich and taking him to the kindergarten, or seeing your young grandson coming home from work and changing your frame of mind for your friends. They don't want to see you crying all the time. And you don't want to either. To some degree, we're constantly divided between.
It takes a lot of maneuvering. In my family, I know that in terms of my kids, there's no maneuvering. Actually, sometimes there is. But that's the real thing, because I'm always in between the dead and the living, but I chose life. In my life, in general, I don't think I've really confronted death all the way.
I understand. And what's good for one person may not be good for another.
That's what scares me. In the future, I may be glad that there are all those libraries, like in Beersheba and Rome and Beit She'an and Yeshivat HaKotel. I'm sure that 10 or 15 years from now, I'll say, it's a good thing that they did that. But now it makes me face the impossible reality. That's hard for me to handle. I hope the day will come when I'll want things for myself. And recently, I've begun to feel that way.
Let me ask you, don't you deserve a normal life?
Of course I do. I have no passion, no hunger for things. Nothing interests me.
But at least you should feel good, normal.
Okay, I try, but I'm not like, wow, I'm traveling abroad. I'm going to one of my favorite places. I don't feel it. It's not the same. It makes me face the impossible reality that's hard for me to handle. You raised a child for 20 years. You dream about what you'll do for him, what he'll do in the future. You talk about final exams, what he's going to study in college. You joke about who he'll bring home, how he'll bring her home. We were always joking at his expense, and all that suddenly ended.
As bereaved parents, we have to get used to the loss every day anew. Every day of the first year, we have to get used to it.
I want him to remain in people's hearts at least. That means a lot to me. I know in my mind and heart that it won't bring him back. Nothing will bring him back. Not even the most prestigious memorial. And I know that in the most trenchant way. But within his absence, the fact that he's gone, at least there are other people who will remember him and speak his name. Because, as you say, if he were still here, he'd be married and have children, but nothing remains. The fact that he's in my heart and the family's heart is something too. But I say at least other people bear him in their heart. Part of me is in you. That's in a song. That's how I feel. But I agree. Everything pales in comparison to the boy himself.
Ora Turjaman, she is very shy. Ora is the mother of the late soldier Eviatar Turjaman, Andrea Karilat's boyfriend. Ora didn't know we've done here. She wanted to steal half an hour from the itinerary, take a taxi here and put some books in the library. She bought them and brought them with her. I asked Cairit about it, and she said, no, I want to surprise her, so I'm sorry, but sometimes Cairit's plans and mine conflict. I told her it didn't make sense to surprise her, so we let her know. You won't go in a taxi, you'll take a bus, and not alone, but all of us together.
I have no words to express how touched I am by what you've done here. And the friends who came with me, the mothers and fathers, it's not only ours. This library is yours, too. It belongs to your sons just as it belongs to mine. Eviatar was our fourth son, the child of our old age. He died on the 24th of Tammuz in combat in Khan Yunis. A month later, Eviatar's commanding officer, Omri, came to us and told me that the day Eviatar enlisted, he heard a knock at the door and saw a new recruit. He wondered, who has the nerve to knock on an officer's door on his first day in the army? He said to him, yes, what do you want? And he said, I'd really like to speak to you. The officer said, come in, and Eviatar pleaded to be transferred to the 890th Battalion. He said, I studied at Yeshivat HaKotel. I studied at a high school in Yeshiva, and I attended a Noam elementary school. I think I have something to offer, and I want to be in that battalion. He looked at him and said, he told me, I was speechless. He told me, you know what? I'll look into it. 5 days later, he went to Eviatar and said, listen, Turjaman, you can transfer to 890. But Eviatar had already decided not to. He said, I've already met with the guys, and I'd rather stay with the guys I started basic training with. Later, it occurred to me that only one soldier in the 202nd Battalion fell in battle, Eviatar. I don't think anyone in 890 was killed.
Varda, tomorrow you'll translate at the ceremonies, and you can say whatever you want.
Oh la la, oh la la. No, according to Irit's instructions, no. Today, you're supposed to read the blessings, and only on Thursday, I beg your pardon, the Noah family. We'll only deliver the packages on Thursday, after the reading, after the Megillah reading. After the Megillah reading. I could be dead then. How could I hold on to the chocolate until then? I can hardly hold back as it is.
Varda is giving tomorrow's briefing. Go for it, Varda.
Let him stand up and tell me through the envoy what's happening now.
Today, after that picture, I feel a mixture of joy and sadness. Daniel was a newcomer. He'd only been in the army for 8 months. He died in a pillbox as a cadet training for command. He never fulfilled the plans his commanding officer had for him. He was supposed to graduate commander's training and go to the officers' academy. That's the story. We chose life. I gathered all my kids and told them we're choosing life. We have our children, we have our 2 lovely grandchildren, and we're living for them and, of course, for ourselves too. We share a common fate. When I laugh, they laugh. When I cry, they understand. They don't ask what's wrong. They all understand.
This was Mussolini's headquarters. It was also the seat of the cardinal, who was the Venetian Republic's ambassador to the Vatican. And to this day, you can see photographs from the archives of Mussolini going out on the balcony and giving his crazy fascist speeches with the whole piazza full of Italians.
המקום הזה הוא סגירת מעגל להגיע לכאן.
By coming here, we're achieving closure since our son, Captain Nathan Cohen, who was killed in Operation Protective Edge, proposed to his fiancée Tal here. Just 5 months before he was killed. We're achieving closure. We know he was here when he proposed.
There's a lot of goodwill here, both for Lמשפחות and the Jewish community, which has gone out of its way for us. So much that it's embarrassing. For me, at least, they're reaching out. They're going out of their way. Pamper and embrace and recognize us. For me, at least, they're reaching out. They're going out of their way. Pamper and embrace and recognize us. It's hard to describe.
How do you feel about the fact that they're putting you together and telling you, okay, we're in Rome, but this is really about bereavement.
Do you really want to know?
I want to know what you think.
All right. Avi's making faces. You aren't making faces, okay? Personally, this is very, very hard for me. Putting bereaved parents together, in my humble, modest opinion, is a wonderful thing. After last night, so many parents came up to me to tell me that it was the first time in their new lives, and they laughed. A combination of joy and sadness.
At least one woman told me, since my son was killed, I haven't laughed like I laughed last night. I haven't laughed at all. And what happened at the bus last night was amazing. People burst out laughing, and it released some inner block, it seems. And they feel very good about it. People are opening up. They're willing to express their feelings, which they may not ordinarily. The surroundings they're in is supportive. And as Varda pointed out, the community is so warm-hearted. You feel they were showering you with love, warmth, a desire to support and offer relief. It was very moving, the encounter at the synagogue.
Everyone was just given a slip of paper. Look at your slip. On the slip is the name of the person whom you're going to give the Purim gift to.
I drew Mrs. Marsh for the Purim gift. And my son Daniel gave to her son Daniel. And Shachar Ta'es I gave to another Shachar. Dauber. As if, what a coincidence that Daniel is giving to Daniel and Shachar to Shachar.
Zafrir's father. Zafrir was Ozzy's deputy battalion commander, and Ozzy was killed a few minutes before the missile struck Zafir's room, which served as battalion HQ. I was very close to Zafrir and to Roy, the battalion commander who was mortally wounded. And yesterday, when I saw Zafrir's father dress up and dance to be happy, he gave me a lot of strength and inspiration, and I take my hat off to him.
Our son's message is unity and tolerance toward other opinions, other costumes, and I take my hat off to you. Let's pass it on deep in our hearts, tolerance for each other and respect for each other's values. I respect all your values despite our differences, and I hope that each of us was given through this trip the strength to carry on and to accept one another
I really do respect you. When I heard your life story, I was devastated. You lost your brother when you were 2 years younger, and you were very close. Then you lost your first son, and less than a year ago, if my memory serves, you lost a second son. He was stabbed in the heart 3 times, and still has deep faith in God. And despite all our tribulations, we must hold our heads up and carry on. Carry on with our lives as best we can. I salute you.
להמשיך את חיינו באופן המיטבי.
כל הכבוד לך.
We don't look back, we only march ahead. Of course we stumble along the way, but we only move ahead. I'm full of admiration and love for you.
I'm full of admiration and love for you. I just want you to know that this woman and her husband married off a son a month afterwards, a month and a half. And while she was mourning, I decided I'm coming to dance with you. And we danced.
You did.
A month and a half
dragged
later.
me along.
And that's what we're here for, to drag each other along.
The tremendous embrace from the community. The Jewish people are always embracing us, but the tremendous embrace we received from the community here, I didn't expect it. This experience, I don't think I could have had it anywhere else.
Last night we came to the party a little early and it was unreal. There was a discotheque with music, and how do you get through this thing? There were all sorts of means, but what made me happy was seeing Effie, Shachal, Smadar, Nava. Where is Nava? Heidi?
Although I don't know who will receive my modest Purim gift, I know who you are. You whose world was destroyed with a knock at the door. You who dreamt of seeing your son grow up. That's so true. Build a home, realize his dreams. You who missed the smell of his clothing, his unique voice, which hasn't said the word mom for so long. You who bear pain and grief unlike any other. You are my sister. My sister in pain, in sorrow. My sister in joy. Only you know, as I know, that we carry not only our deceased, but life itself in our arms. We who gave birth and through the awful pain heard their first cry, the excitement at their arrival, know well that those who give to us are as deserving and worthy as they and us. So, my dear, today here in Rome, we're celebrating Purim, a holiday which is all about joy. I know that no miracle happened to us as it happened in the book of Esther. But we are the miracle. We who chose, despite our personal destruction, yes, to enjoy, if only a little, to find a few moments of happiness, to remember them, to cry and to smile and to carry on. We are the miracle. Be strong, dear sister. We have a long way to go. But we've begun the journey. We've chosen to live. We've chosen to carry on. And may God send you lights of consolation. And from the sorrow, a new melody will grow. The melody of life, with love and embraces, and wishes for joyous meetings. Miriam Peretz.
משהו מדהים? חבר'ה.
כן. Want to see something amazing? Something we discovered at his gravesite a month later? Look at the date of birth and the date of death. He was born on January 27th and was killed on July 21st. See? The same numbers. Even more amazing. He was born on January 27th and was killed on July 21st. The same numbers. They add up to 28. These also add up to 28. Nadav in numerology is 50. Daled is 4. Beit is 2. And that makes 56. 56. 28 plus 28 is 56.
I dread the day. On the personal level, I dread the day when I forget Ozzy's voice. So my ringtone is Ozzy's voice. And I also dread the day when we'll be forgotten. And it's natural that should happen because life goes on, and unfortunately, there are always new bereaved families, and we're not the only ones.
I'm with you forever and ever.
I'm glad.
That's it for tonight's episode. Thank you so much for watching High Definition right here on i24 News, and I'll see you next time.